All right, there we are. We are live. Thank you guys so much for waiting that out. And yes, I'll be moving my camera out of the right corner, bottom right corner, because my Mr. Primetime logo is in front of me. So, all right, well, just give me a few minutes here. So we'll give it a few minutes. And I'm gonna have to probably reshare my live events here because unfortunately we're now an hour later than we were supposed to be. And so I want to get some people in here, so let's go ahead and reshare. I've gone live here. And I'm just going to put out a chat here so that way if anyone joins the stream, I just want to know I got some people in here before I proceed forward. So, man, again, guys, really sorry about the technical issues there, but we're finally live and ready to go. So I'm just going to put out in the chat that if you do join the stream, just throw something in the chat there, so I know that you're here. Because I just want to get at least a few people rolled in. All right, and just give me a second here. I'm just going to also update my social media to say that we are finally live. And yeah, honestly, I really am not sure exactly what happened. And so I ended up basically restarting my computer, and it seemed like there was an update on my computer. So I'm inclined to think that that may have had a factor. And then also did reset my internet too to see if that was causing a problem. So I think those two things, we've been able to go ahead and resolve the problems, which definitely a little frustrated on the update side of things because my computer really didn't say, bring like a notification to the forefront that I needed an update. And then secondly, it took like a million years. So that part of it too was just head scratching to say the least. Because I was ready to go right on time, and when I tried to stream and get everything connected, just it kept disconnecting from my OBS software and wouldn't was having issues connecting with YouTube. So I think that's really what caused the issue here. But anyway, we are here and ready to play some Madden today. So just bear with me for a few more seconds. Just wanted to spread the word on Facebook and Twitter, Instagram. All right. Just hoping that the issues I had hopefully didn't cause anyone to not join today. Because obviously I had planned to be, here and ready to go at 3 o'clock, had everything ready. But for whatever reason, either the computer or internet wasn't having it, wasn't syncing up for me to go live at 3. And I'll be quite honest, I'm not the most expert tech type of person. I feel like for the average person or normal human, I have a pretty great understanding of technology and all that. But when things worked last time and I did everything exactly the same this time, and then for some reason it wasn't working, um, that's kind of where it's like, well, I got to dig deeper and try to find the issue, and I'm not really, you know, that techy, to that level. But anyway, so now that that is aside, I think it's time to start streaming some Madden and do what we came to do here today. So really quick, just getting my last final share of my stream out to Twitter, and then we'll get going. Good afternoon, Kyle. Thank you for putting up with the what ended up being an hour delay here. Thank you for joining and sending that chat there. Glad to have you here. So hopefully we get some other people to join today and on the stream. So I think hopefully once I share it on social medias, that get some more people to join here today. This is definitely my worst nightmare when it comes to doing this stuff, is running into these types of issues. But again, luckily we are looking like we're ready to go here soon. All right. Do want to try to get at least a few more people here before I kind of start into the franchise here. Um, I believe we have just Kyle here so far, but I just shared out the word on. So we'll just give it another couple minutes, see if I can get anyone else to join, and I'm just gonna get. So I think what I'm gonna do here is once we get, we'll say once I see that there are 3 viewers here, we'll go ahead and get started. So until then, anyone that has joined here with me, um, let's just kind of open up the chat here. Maybe ask me some questions, or can be into sports. I mean, our topic or our sport of choice today is of course football and the NFL. So if you maybe want to ask me any NFL questions, and with what we're going to be doing here today, going in the franchise. If you haven't read the description of my stream today, I am basically going to be starting a franchise with a team, and I will be picking up basically in current day. So pretty much after the Super Bowl, with all the results of the NFL of this NFL season basically in place, meaning like the Jaguars are going to have the first overall pick here. Um, all the guys that are potential or could be free agents will be as such. So we'll have to see what teams do with those players. And then so again, back to kind of what I'll be doing is once I show you who I will be selecting here to begin this franchise with, I'm basically going to be in control of that team as like a GM/coach. So kind of like any Patriot fans out there, kind of like yours truly, Bill Belichick, being kind of GM and coach. So what I'll basically be doing is, sitting in that GM seat, or wearing the coach's hat, and kind of, seeing what I can do to make the team that I have chosen better. Through free agency, through possible trade, we'll see. Then, of course, the NFL draft. And so with the NFL draft, I actually have a draft class that I have downloaded with the real NFL or the real college players that are entering the draft this year. It's pretty up to date, so we're just going to be rolling with that. So, in other words, you are going to see, like I mentioned with the Jags, they will have the first pick. That could mean Trevor Lawrence will be getting selected more than likely by the Jaguars here in this off season. So that's another cool thing that I'm excited to do, is use that real life draft class instead of a generic or fictional Madden one, if you will. So yeah, all right. I see I got 3 people now watching. So anyone else watching, if you can just say something in the chat, just so I can see who else we have here, and then we're gonna go ahead and start because we got the 3 people that I wanted to get rolling. So all right. So franchise, here we go. And again, before we kind of really get fully into the franchise now going forward, thank you anyone who is here live with me today, and for anyone that does watch this on replay when it's when the stream is over, and watches it on their own time. Thank you for that watch as well and support. It's all greatly appreciated. For anyone that does watch live or on playback, please definitely leave a like on the video. That's going to help my channel basically kind of populate, if you will, out to others. So people in the YouTube world, and that's what's going to help here grow. If you haven't, of course, subscribed, subscribe to the channel as well, as that will help kind of keep you in the loop on when I do streams, when I go live, or when any videos get posted. So however I am, sharing my content. If you're subscribed, you'll be able to, anytime you're on YouTube, go to you'll be able to find my channel easily as a subscriber, and see any of my videos and follow along here with the journey. So now that that's out of the way, let's play some franchise. So really quick as well, happy Valentine's Day to all you out there, whether coupled up or not. Hope you all have been having a great day so far, and and then have a good time on the stream here since you've joined. And yeah, so here we go. So we're going to go ahead and so this is how we're basically going to start from the real life. We're going to use real life NFL roster. And so with this, you can basically start from any point in the season. And so yeah, we're just going to go right to the Super Bowl and start right there.
Select the team you want to join.
All right, so now the moment of truth. What team will I be selecting to start this franchise journey with today? And also, I do plan to at least have this be at least a 2-part, maybe 3-part stream kind of mini series, and then we'll kind of see what happens, and it may develop into something longer. So my intentions today are to kind of get it started, meaning picking the team, getting everything set up, and then beginning the off season. So depending on where time is, I hope to make it through the whole off season, and depending on, like I said, where we are time wise by that point, I would like to get one maybe played game of the season. So I'll probably simulate through the preseason if we have times to do so, and then play a game at the end. So that way we get a little bit of gameplay, because I want to feel out, anyone that's watching or subscribed, want to feel out what you're interested in this type of thing. I know for me personally, I have zero problems kind of basically doing this as like a management only type of franchise, meaning just basically I make all the roster decisions, transactions, etc. And then I also am coaching, so maybe basically I like set up the depth chart, who I want to play, and all that stuff, and then basically simulating games to see how my team does. Meaning I don't have any deciding factor in the play, because if I did play games, obviously that's going to be more so in my hands, and somewhat as to the talent level of the team. But I feel like overall, when you play the games, the talent or how good you are at the game is really going to be what shows more. So sometimes for me, just doing managing stuff and simulating kind of gives you how your team truly is or how they truly perform in simulation. But some people may not be their thing. They want to see more gameplay. So today we'll see what happens. I'll incorporate a little bit of both, and then depending on what people like, if they like kind of that setup where we kind of do a little of both, meaning I do some simulating, then I play maybe a couple of games a season or something, or just play like the playoffs if we make it. You know, I'm open to that. So we'll see how we go along. So now let's go ahead, pick our team. So um, when I do franchises, I generally avoid picking teams that are already very good. So AKA really any playoff teams, or just teams that you know just already appear to be kind of looking good. So examples of that, obviously, playoff teams would be Chiefs, Buccaneers, who were just in the Super Bowl. So teams that also maybe like the Colts, um, the Browns. Now that they're actually good, probably won't be going in that direction. Buffalo, etc. Other teams I'm going to rule out because I feel like while they did miss the playoffs, they're already in a pretty good spot. So maybe something like the Vikings here, or who's another non-playoff team? Maybe the Raiders. They're an 82. And then I saw another one earlier that was the 49ers. So a team that's basically they weren't good this year because they had so many injuries. You're seeing one right there, Nick Bosa, and then just among others, George Kittle barely played this year. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking for. So I gave it some thought yesterday because I was trying to think, do I want to just come in, pick a team, or do I want to leave it up to you guys who I go with? So I decided I was just going to flat out pick a team and then go with it. And so when I looked through, I kind of came up with a couple of options that seemed good. So the Bengals were one. Another one was like the Bears, and the Texans were another good one. Because if this is a team I picked, as you can see, there's J.J. Watt. They have released him officially. So if this is who I'm picking, I definitely will. When we get to that point in the offseason, I will release him just like they have. In terms of Deshaun Watson, um, you know, interesting topic, just for overall sports talk, what's going to happen there, because I think it's honestly, you know, and kind of in a standstill. I honestly don't see Houston trading him. Uh, Not that it's impossible, but I also, if I chose that team where it stands in real life, I would make that call. I wouldn't trade him. Obviously, there's no way to have Madden like make him hold out or basically like not play. But yeah, I think if I did pick them, I would release Watt, and then I would keep Watson as my QB and build around him. And the other team I did think about as well is I know we'll probably have some Patriot fans here, but yeah, the Patriots. Um, Honestly, and this is not even coming saying this as a Patriot fan, but I do actually firmly believe that the Patriots in the offseason are going to have one of the more, if not the most interesting offseason here this year for a lot of reasons. I think to see what they do with the cap space they have, that was kind of afforded to us, after this season by Tom Brady, leaving, of course, and not having a big quarterback contract on the team, and just also really in general not having a lot of big contracts on this team. So a lot of cap space. They'll obviously have their draft to capital, and honestly, just what they're going to do at quarterback. So I think with that said, the teams I've kind of mentioned going through here, obviously other ones, good ones would be the Jets and the Jags. But honestly, I actually feel like the Jags, where they're not great, I feel like they actually would be a pretty easy team to just start and turn around. Because with what I said about having a real life draft class, there's not going to be much intrigue to that. Because if you pick this team, you're just basically gonna, go get Trevor Lawrence and then just, build around from there. So there's just not a lot of mystery or intrigue to really, have decisions, to need to make. So that was the reason I didn't really consider them. The Jets, I mean, I just don't want to be the Jets. Same thing with the Giants. So, all right, Miami would be another good one, but I made my decision yesterday, and so we are going to start this kind of franchise, yes, with my favorite team, the New England Patriots. So that is the choice.
Start your season with recommended settings. If you wish to change roles or adjust options,
I'll just talk a little bit more about the Patriots
on the
left. As I go through, just to set up some of the settings here. Some of it's really not going to take all that long. I am going to set this to CPU only just because, for the sake of running this through, I obviously don't want to put myself into firing position because we're in this for the long haul, so we're just going to leave that for CPUs only. I do need to currently turn off injuries and pre-existing injuries because I've tested this before. If you leave pre-existing injuries on, it kind of affects what happens in the off season. Because Madden had guys like on IR that were either hurt or like guys that opted out, and it has them with like really long injury timelines, so they would stay injured basically until like the start of next season. So that would impact, like, for example, Joe Burrow being on IR. If the Bengals went through the offseason and they have a guy on IR, it kind of redoes their thinking, which means they could honestly draft another quarterback in the NFL draft if we didn't have that off. So that's the reason for that being off. Injuries I just turn off, even though there's not going to be any games played. I'll turn it back on once we get through the off season and start in the preseason of 2021. Then same thing with practice squad stealing. I don't want guys on practice squads to be stolen right now in the off season, so that'll get turned back on once we hit the next season. All right, other than that, I don't think there is anything else. I think with this, I've heard a lot of things about this. So what these couple things can do are, with a development trait regression, that means that guys can kind of change their progression trait. So in this game, there's normal, star, superstar, and superstar X factor, as you can see the three here. So normal is just kind of like, regular. And then you got this. So with this development trait regression on, that could mean that if someone, got to one of these developments, they could be at risk of losing it year to year based on their performance. And also with this is going to set a definite number of those development traits. So I've honestly been back and forth on this a lot, just because in some ways it's good, but for anyone that's played Madden before, Madden doesn't really always have the best logic on stuff. So I just feel like sometimes this is going to be tricky. I think I am going to go ahead and use it, however. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this at 50, because to me I feel like the X factors, your top 50 players. I'm actually going to increase the superstar dev to 100. So what that's going to basically allow us here is for, your top 150 players in the NFL, will be your X Factor or superstar developments. So that gives us at 150. And I think for here, I'm going to go with, let's see, that would be 600. So your top 600 players. I think we're gonna go with an even 500. So that would be like basically your top 650 players in the league. Let me know what you guys think here. Really quick, while we're on that, I'll just go through some of the other settings. For the games, not really sure yet. We'll see what happens when we get to game. I'll just do that for the moment. Turn all this stuff off. We'll name the league really quick. For those that know me, this is one of my patented name titles used. Password, it's really just going to be me, so we'll just actually leave that as it is. All right. So I think we're pretty much good to go with the settings, with the exception of just seeing what everyone thinks about this setup here. Because if you look at it this way, each team in the NFL typically has a 53-man roster. So that times 32 is 1,696 players. And then if you throw in this game, everyone can have a 10-man practice squad. So that's another 320 players. So if you add that all together, that's 2,016 players. So with what we have right now for this development trait, that would allow for 650 players to either be star dev or above. And then, like I said, the top 100 or top 150 would have at least superstar development. And then your top 50 players typically will have your X factors, because that's what they are. So if we do kind of a quick math on that, so 2016, if you divide that by, say, the 650 I have set here, that basically means that a little less than a third of the league will have star development. So I think that's good for now. If I change my mind or feel like it's not working, we'll come back. But again, it might not be the biggest deal initially here as we go through the offseason. So that's what we'll start with. And now, time to make our custom coach. So I'm going to go with the team builder package, coach package, to get the extra coaching XP. And yes, for those wondering why it says Shecky Shabazz, it's from the Fresh Prince. It's one of the fake names Will Smith uses in one episode. So we're going to go ahead here and go we'll just leave Shecky Shabazz for now. I don't feel like taking the time, any additional time to think about a name. So we'll make this guy Shecky Shabazz here. And I like that. Khakis, sweatshirt. All right. And then we'll just keep the Patriot playbook. So there we go. All right, so we're ready to get into it. A couple other things I'm going to just set up here really quickly. For settings, then we're really going to kind of get into it. Although again, I don't think the XP sliders are going to be all that prevalent for the off season, but just to have it in place so I don't have to worry about it later. So what this does basically is it kind of helps with, again, with Madden's franchise, it's not, truthfully speaking, it's not the in the greatest state. So sometimes you just gotta make some tweaks to make sure that things are gonna, be as realistic as possible. And that's kind of always what I like to strive for, is the most realism we can have here. So I got these from just a gaming site, that from a forum that has that set up. So all right, now that all the boring stuff is out of the way, let's go ahead and head to the off season. So first thing I have to do here to move on is, obviously, we need Tampa Bay to win. So I will force the home win, so that Tampa Bay, just like in real life, will be your champions. And so now we are good to then advance to the off season. All right. So now the fun begins. So let's see what happens here. So the force simulation had Tampa Bay win a much closer game than real life, 28-27. If you can see there in the top left corner. All right, so first thing we're going to look at is the retirements. Let's see who Madden decided would call it a career this season. So I think to make this more easily viewable, I'm just going to go team by team to kind of break it down that way. So Bears, nobody. Bengals, nobody. Bills, Ty and Secchi. That's a big loss. Broncos, DeMar Dotson. Browns, no one. So the Bucks just lose AQ Shipley. So Tom Brady is back. Cardinals lose Jonathan Joseph and punter Andy Lee. No one from the Chargers. Chiefs, Andy Reid. Disappointed after losing the Super Bowl. Calls it a career and walks off with one Super Bowl championship to his name. And then guards Stefan Wisniewski. No one on the Colts. No one on the Cowboys. Dolphins, no one on them. Eagles lose Jason Peters. Falcons, no one. Niners, no one. Giants, no one. Jags, Jets. And the Lions, Danny Amendola, former Patriot, among other teams as well, calls it a career. Packers, Mercedes Lewis. Panthers, Pats. Raiders just lose a lineman. Rams lose Andrew Whitworth. Now that's probably the biggest, probably besides Andy Reid, probably the biggest retirement so far. For those that aren't familiar with linemen, Andrew Whitworth is definitely one of the better left tackles. So big loss for the Rams. Ravens lose 3 guys. So that's the most we've seen from any one team yet. Definitely the big one here at the top is Calais Campbell. I'm pretty sure he was a superstar, X Factor or superstar. So that's a big one. And probably a high-rated player. Then Andre Smith and Anthony Levine, I think, are backups. So Thomas Davis, long-standing linebacker, mostly a Panther, but spent a year on the football team, so he's gone. Emmanuel Sanders, after 1 year on the Saints, calls it a career. Seahawks lose 3 guys. Oh, one just like in real life, though, Greg Olsen. Dwayne Brown, that's a pretty big loss on a already bad offensive line, and he was their best one. And then they lose their fullback, so that's nothing much. Steelers lose no one. The Texans lose Darren Fells. Titans no one, and the Vikings lose their punter. So there are your retirements. So actually, one really quick thing I want to do, just because it is something that happened. One guy, I was hoping he would retire on his own, but he didn't, is Phillip Rivers. Although it looks like they re-signed him. I think I probably should have done that before moving on to the off season. So let me just check one thing here. I just want to see if he basically got a contract extension. No, it does say 0 years remaining. So, all right. So what we're gonna do then, because Rivers obviously has retired, and since Madden did not have him retire. We're basically just going to make the Colts, in essence, want to just let him go or release him. And then just by making him not very good in terms of his overall, that's basically going to make no one sign him and just kind of basically make him just kind of, in essence, just kind of disappear or, retire in that way. So we're just going to basically put down all his key traits that a quarterback would have, or key ratings here, to ones. And so this will basically mean the Colts will not be bringing him back as a 29 overall. Because in real life, the Colts' only quarterback on the roster right now is this man right here, Eason, who was a rookie last year. And I did also need to have Anthony Costanzo on that same team retire as well, because he also in real life retired. So same thing here, we'll just quickly get his ratings put down that are going to be the ones that are key for offensive line. So just going to be those things, and then the blocking. Whoa. I pressed the wrong button. Alright, so while we're just doing this, let's just get a little sports talk going, so that no one's bored to death just watching me put down ratings. So what do we think about what's going to happen in the offseason? So a couple conversation starters I have are, I do know there's going to be a potentially loaded class of free agent wide receivers, headlined by Chris Godwin, Kenny Golladay, Juju Smith-Schuster. Are the top three that come to my mind here. And so we'll see if any of those guys become free agents in my franchise here. And the other thing I did want to check on was, I know the Pouncey brothers retired. But I honestly don't want to put the Steelers in a bad spot, because this will cause a penalty. So, I mean, they save $8 million. They'd save $5 million. So, yeah, let's just go ahead and do it. But yeah, and then just honestly, the biggest thing that's going to be wildly entertaining to see what happens is just the unprecedented potential for quarterback movement. So teams just either looking for or moving on from, guys that were maybe once considered a franchise quarterback, or in some cases guys that are just not happy. So in the not happy club, we kind of have Russell Wilson, who recently has expressed some unhappiness. And then, of course, there's Deshaun Watson. And then we got guys that are, once were considered franchise quarterbacks that are probably going to be looking for new homes. Big one is Carson Wentz. But he has a massive contract, so it's going to require trade. We'll see how what turns out with that. All right, I think that's it for that, though. For those guys we wanted to force retire. All right, and so one I did actually just really quickly think about. It hasn't happened yet, so I'll actually leave this one open to you guys. What should we do with Drew Brees? Because all indications are he's going to retire. So that's another one of the big quarterback things, potential things that are upcoming here is, if Drew Brees does decide to move on, close the book on his career, What will the Saints do? Are they going to bring this man back? Because he's actually going to be a free agent. They only signed him to a cheap 1-year deal. So do they bring him back? Or do they roll Taysom Hill, who actually I don't even see on the Saints roster here, so that's interesting. So what do you think we should do with Breeze? Should we just, since he didn't retire, just leave it at that? Or do we want to try to do what we did with like Rivers and force him into it? I mean, if we're just going to go with where we are right now, I think we should have just let the game play it out. So as you can see, he did regress. I think he was in the 80s for his overall. So the regression of his, skills kind of brought him down to 78. So he's kind of close with Winston. And the Saints are in a world of cap trouble too. They are negative 28 million. So let me know what you guys think. What should we do with Breeze? Should we let him probably end up playing out what ends up being one more year here? Or based on what we think is going to happen, which is, like I said, indications are he's going to retire, should we kind of make that happen? We'll come back to it. Leave a chat on what you think we should do with that. And we've already reviewed retirement, so let's get an early look at this Patriot roster. All right, so here are the current quarterbacks. I kind of want to view this more in the salary screen, just because that'll kind of also give us a key on, who's going to be free agents or who's got. So here we are. So we got 2 QBs on the roster, as we know. So it's Cam Newton and Jarrett Stidham. Cam Newton's only currently temporarily still showing on the roster because, as you can see right here, he is only had a 1-year deal. So his deal is up. So we're going to have a decision to make with him. And then we have Jarrett Stidham, who at one point in time was thought was going to be the Patriots QB this year, and he barely played this year. And when he did play, just didn't really show us much. So here's where his actual true-to-life numbers. So yeah, not great. 50% completion, yards per attempt, not very good. More picks than touchdowns, and a 54.7 QB rating. So yeah, it's an interesting thing. I think the way I'm going to look at it here with my GM coach head of this team, Shecky Shabazz, I'm viewing Stidham as a clear backup. Definitely, I'm not going to be moving forward with him as like a starter. Patriots at running back. An interesting assortment. So Burkhead and White are free agents, and they are the kind of elder statesmen in this backfield. Then you got young, recent drafted players. So Sony Michel, who, in all honesty, probably has been a little bit of a disappointment, but he's got 1 more year left on his rookie deal. So he'll be with the team. He'll be on the Patriots, again. And then Damian Harris, who kind of really took over the lead back job here this year with New England. I can't remember exactly what he finished with in terms of numbers, but yeah, I mean, 691 yards on the carries he got, averaged 5 yards a carry, which is outstanding. Only had 2 touchdowns, but the Patriots offense honestly didn't score much. The only thing is, him and Michel are very similar in that they're traditional, kind of more traditional running backs, meaning they don't have much of a impact in the pass game, but that's kind of where James White shined. But he's a free agent, and honestly, at age 29, he's probably starting to regress. We'll get into regression too, and I'll show you kind of what that, how that works and all that, or what we had for regression on this team. For some reason, the Patriots had 3 fullbacks, but 2 are free agents, and so I mean, not a very important position. So at receiver. Now this is, besides quarterback, going to be one of the biggest areas to work on. So as you can see, not a great core. Edelman's under contract for 1 more year. Myers is as well. N'Keal Harry's been a disappointment as a first rounder a couple years ago. Marquise Lee was signed this year but opted out. And then Demir Bird only got a 1-year deal. And then a couple other guys down here. Gunner, though, special teams ace, so he'll be love to have him back as the return man once again. At tight end, this is another interesting position because these two right here were just drafted last year, and neither of these tight ends had any kind of impact as rookies. So it's like, what do you do there? Do we sign a veteran maybe to become the starter? Let these guys maybe develop behind. Izzo's kind of a mediocre veteran, and then Lacoste opted out, and he's a free agent, so not thinking he'll be back, but we'll see it. And once we get to re-signings, left tackle, we obviously have Isaiah Wynn, provided he can stay healthy. He's a good one. Joe Tooney, he was on the franchise tag this year, so. And meanwhile, Michael Onwenu, hope I said that right. He was honestly, I looked at a Pro Football Focus on NFL, on the NFL website, top 5 Pro Football Focus graded rookies. He was actually the number 2 graded offensive rookie this year. As you can see with his 80 overall here at the end of this year in Madden, he was honestly one of the steals of the draft. Ended up being one of the steals of the draft. I think he was a 6th round pick out of Michigan. Yeah. So yeah, that could make the decision to let Tooney go easier because Tooney will command a pretty good contract, and we have Onwenu to on a rookie deal. And look at the salary hits here for that. So that could play a factor in letting Tooney walk. Andrews is also a free agent center, and he's one of the good ones, one of the better ones in the league. Shaq Mason's still got 3 years left on his contract, and he's a very good guard, so we're set there. And then at right tackle, we kind of have an age regressing Marcus Cannon, who has 1 year left on his deal. But we'd save a lot by cutting him and trying to maybe find a free agent, move on from somebody. So that's going to be something we'll look into. Now to defense. So another big thing on defense that I'm going to be trying to probably look for is a pass rusher. So John Simon's getting up there. He's a free agent. Chase Winovich is a nice one, but I don't think he's a primary guy. So I think he's better as a secondary pass rusher. And so I think we're going to be trying to maybe find someone that's going to become the number 1 guy. And then speaking of guy, Lawrence Guy is a free agent, as is Dietrich Wise. So 3 out of our 4 ends are pending free agents. So a lot of decisions to make there. At DT, not great. Our best guy is also, again, a free agent. And yeah, just not a lot of other great players here. So a lot of work to do there. At linebacker, Anthony Jennings was a rookie this year. He's decent. And a couple other older guys that are free agents. And then we got Hightower, who was an opt-out and is a free agent. Although I actually don't think he is in real life because if I remember right, anyone who opted out, it didn't count because they technically didn't get paid their contract. So they actually should still be around. I don't know if I'm going to go through to edit that, though. Just because I don't want to go through. Patriots had a lot of opt-outs, and other teams did, so that would take a while to go through. So I'm just going to leave that as is. We'll just, make a decision on either bringing Hightower back or not then. And honestly, I was thinking that even if he did have a year left on his deal, I feel like he would have been a potential cut candidate anyway, because he is 31. He's going to be probably regressing. I don't know why I keep saying regressing. It's regressing. And Jawan Bentley's kind of like almost a similar type of player. Obviously not on the same level, but he's a similar like play type, run stopper, as you can see right there. And this guy actually was not a bad undrafted player this year, Terez Hall. He had some moments, so we got some things to work. We'll have to make a decision there. Josh Uche was one of our highest, one of the Patriots' highest picked rookies last year. I believe he was a 2nd or 3rd round pick. And yeah, he's a 73. That's a nice spot for a 2nd-year player, so he'll be part of our plans. Not much else there. And another big one's going to be Gilmore. Now, so here's what we got. So obviously releasing him is probably not going to be in the cards. Not that I would do that. I think for me, it's either going to be looking into potential trades because he's only got 1 year left on his deal, or keeping him on the team, letting him play out the last year of the deal, and then see what happens. He's obviously still excellent, 99 overall. Because what we also got to think about here is J.C. Jackson is a free agent. Although in real life he would be a restricted free agent. Madden doesn't have restricted free agency. They did before, back in the older games, back when Madden was much better. Sorry, I had to throw a little bit of shade to Madden. But anywho, yeah. So what a restricted free agent would be, though, is that if someone else did try to sign him, the Patriots would have the opportunity to match it, the offer, or if they let him go, they get compensated with what they tender him, which I'm assuming based on the way he played this year, he'd probably be tendered with at a first-round pick. So if someone did actually want to sign him to an offer sheet and the Patriots declined to match it, we would get that team's first-round pick. Not sure if it would be in this year's draft or the next draft, but yeah, since Madden doesn't have restricted free agency and none of that, he's just a regular free agent. So honestly, we just got to either re-sign him or let him become a free agent and either try to get him back there or he'll be at risk of signing elsewhere. But yeah, this is probably the one position where the Patriots are pretty good at, top to bottom, really good depth. We'll probably be moving on from Jason McCourty, though. He's getting up there, and we have 3 guys here, especially if we bring back Jackson, keep Gilmore, That'll give Williams, who was a second-round pick now 2 years ago, the opportunity to kind of move up to that 4th corner spot anyway. And yeah, now that we think about it here, that draft 2 years ago is just really not looking great for New England. N'Keal Harry in round 1 and then Joejuan Williams in round 2, I'm pretty sure is what we did. And Harry's just been injured or just kind of been underwhelming, and a lot of other guys, receivers in his class, has just honestly been better, like a lot better. And then with Joejuan Williams, he just hasn't really had a chance to see the field. And that also just means that means he's not better than the 4 guys that are ahead of him. So yeah, it's just honestly been a disappointing. That top 2 of that class has just been pretty disappointing. All right, then at safety, the steady Devin McCourty. He's got 1 year left on his deal, so I love me some Devin McCourty, so he'll be back for sure. I'm pretty, for how I'm feeling here. And then Patrick Chung's an interesting guy because there'll probably be some regression with him. It would actually cost us a lot to cut him, so he's probably going to be back. But I really like Kyle Duggar. He was probably one of our better rookies this year as well with Onwenu. And I really want to start playing him. I mean, from what I want to do with this team, I really feel like I want to play him over Chung because he's actually he was an older rookie, so he's already going to be 25 in the next season. So that's going to be an interesting thing to see what we want to do here. At kicker, we probably got to figure it out because Nick Folk's old. We drafted this guy, and then he didn't even make the team, so that was pretty humiliating. But we might give him another chance. And then Jake Bailey's a good punter. He's got 2 years left on his rookie deal, so that's kind of where things are. So I think first things first, before we get into the re-signing period, we're going to go ahead here and look through the roster and see if there are any guys we want to cut to save on money, or just because. So I'm not going to be looking at guys that are free agents because we don't need to cut someone that's contract is up. So it's really going to be guys that have 1 or more years remaining on deals, and then we're going to be looking at the savings and then penalties to see who makes sense to cut. So the first one I kind of had mentioned when I went through was Marcus Cannon. So now looking at this, so he's a 73 overall, 33-year-old right tackle. He's still, technically would be the starter there, but I definitely believe we can either sign someone younger and around the same skill level, or draft someone at right tackle. So with a 6.36 savings versus a penalty. We're saving basically like around 5 million. So I think that's the right move here. So to give us some even more cap space, we are going to move on from Marcus Cannon as our first cap or cut casualty. Another thing I'm going to do, not cut, but actually I guess I can't do it now, but I will put Gilmore in the trade block just to see what kind of offers I get. Let me know what you guys think about that in the chat. And I'm actually just going to quickly flip on a light in here because it is a little dark, so 1 second. All right, there we go. A little bit better viewership here. All right, so now this might just be me thinking about what could happen, but I just have a feeling that Julian Edelman is either going to be released or traded by the Patriots. So as you can see here, he does have 1 more year left on his deal. And he's a 35-year-old slot receiver that didn't play a lot this year with injury. So honestly, to me, those are two things that kind of go hand in hand with moving on from a player, if you will. So really quick, just to kind of go look at this before we go through to see more, decisions. So just going to go through some of the regression here. So Cam Newton lost 3 points. There's the kind of the breakdown of what he lost. So James White lost 5, Burkhead lost 18, and Bolden 13. So the reason regression happens, or when it happens, is usually when, and at least in Madden, when guys get to age 28 and then older, year to year they're going to start regressing, and they're going to regress at a harsher rate the lower their dev trait. So meaning if they're normal versus a superstar X factor. A superstar X factor is going to have a longer, career timeline and less regression. So yeah, as you can see, Edelman lost 27 basically skill points here, or traits, or attributes as they call them here. So he's down to 75. And then here's some of our other guys at receiver. So at tight end, nobody, because that's a lot of younger players. David Andrews only lost an awareness point, so that's good. Cannon probably would have showed up here, but I had already released him. John Simon lost a couple points on tackles. Lawrence Guy went down a little bit. A couple defensive tackles. Brandon Copeland got hit pretty hard. And then there's Hightower's regression. Still a good player at 83, of course, but definitely he was one of the guys hit hardest. A couple guys here. Jason McCourty, wow. So yeah, he definitely lost a lot. So he lost a lot of coverage and speed, which is two big things as a corner. Devin McCourty lost 21. And Phillips 9. So interesting there. Chung lost 17. And that's it. So there's all of our regression here on the Patriots. So now if we head back to here, yeah, Julian Edelman. I honestly believe that he's not going to be a Patriot next year. And I, for some reason, believe that he really is going to somehow end up on the Buccaneers. I just have that feeling that he's going to get back with Brady. So I actually am going to go ahead and release Julian Edelman. I'm not going to trade him. I am just going to let him go. Because here's the thing, I feel like a lot of the times when players are at that point, I mean, if you can trade him, you do. But I feel like for me here, just moving on now was the right move. I mean, we only ended up saving about a million or so, a little over a million, but I'm not sure what kind of value a 75-year overall 35-year-old slot receiver would have had as a trade player. So I think that was the right move to move on. All right, then the Wise. Who else is under contract? So we're not going to get rid of him. Bo Allen was a guy the Patriots signed as a free agent. And so I don't think he barely played this year. And honestly, I feel like he could get released and would. So I think I'm going to go ahead and cut him. And we'll end up saving basically like a little over 1.5 million or so. All right, and so moving on, Phillips. Yeah, we'll keep him. And let's move down here. Isaiah Wynn obviously is not getting released. Sony Michel. No, we're gonna keep him. We're gonna let him play out the rookie deal. I don't think Patriots would release him, so we're definitely gonna hang on to him. I don't know why Brandon. I think he's a special teams guy. Madden honestly doesn't value special teams players all that much, so I'm just gonna move on. Or at least in terms of like, I know the Patriots are one of the weirder teams in regards to special teams guys. They actually do like to like sign, really like value their special teams guys, meaning they like sign them to, like better deals than, what you would normally expect. All right, I think everyone else down here is kind of not really going to save us much. So I think that's it for guys that are going to become, our cap casualties or, just performance related cuts. I think everything else we're good with here. So after those moves, we are going to have some money to spend. So again, this was another big reason why I thought the Patriots would be a fun team to do this with, is they are going to have a lot of money to spend. So as you can see, we're going to have 121 million of cap room. So really good stuff here. After those couple releases, so that actually ended up giving us a little bit more. So now that we've made those decisions, it is time to look into our free agents and see who we want to use some of that cap space for to bring back. So we actually got a lot of decisions to make on some really top-notch players, and then some secondary guys as well. So let's kind of break it down I like to go by position. So Cam Newton's our first one. He wants that. I am already going to say no. And we're going to go ahead and take that to the offseason. Maybe we bring him back depending on what unfolds. But in this stage, I don't see any reason why we would re-sign him after the play we, got out of him this year. And that contract demand is absolutely absurd. So yeah, that's an easy one. So Stidham will be the only QB left on the roster. Brandon Bolden's a special teams guy, and he's a 31-year-old running back, so we're not going to entertain that. Rex Burkhead is a 31-year-old running back that's regressing, and he's basically like a fourth guy on the depth chart, or was. So I think we're going to move on from him. And I could see the Patriots doing that in real life as well. Last one is James White. This one's tough because I really like James White, but I think I've seen some things that looks like he's going to be moving on. Or the Patriots are going to be kind of letting him go, walk and move on to a new team. And, if you look at this contract he's wanting, it's 13.4 over 3. So that's going to basically be around somewhere between, 4 and 5 million a year. I'm not sure you pay James White that. He's a year away from 30. And, we still have Michelle on one more, one more year on his contract. We have Damian Harris. Neither of them are, of course, receiving backs. So that may be something we'll look into. So we are going to not even entertain negotiations. We're going to let James White test free agency. We'll see what happens. Maybe we bring him back instead like on a 1-year deal. So we'll see what happens. At fullback, Danny Vitale. I think he opted out this year or got hurt or something. So I'm fine with just letting him test. Fullback's not really like a all that important position. Jacob Johnson did play in the Patriots decision. He actually was out pretty good. Decent fullback, and he's not wanting much money. I think I'll bring it down just a tad. So 2 years, 2.7, that's really not much in the grand scheme of it. As you can see, our cap room is going to be barely affected. And he's a decent fullback. I mean, I guess, could you get better? Probably. But I think we'll make an offer and see. So he's excited to be back. So Jacob Johnson becomes our first officially re-signed player. All right, let's move to receiver. Definitely not bringing back Dante Moncrief. I think Damiere Byrd, I think we kind of got from him what maybe we expected, if not more. But the way I'm looking at this Patriot receiving core is I think it just needs, aside from N'Keal Harry, because, he was a first round pick, he's going to be on the team. He's got 2 more years. I think otherwise the entire receiving core needs a complete redo. So with that being said, I am not going to negotiate with Damiere Byrd. I'm just going to, he gave us a solid year here, but we're going to move on. Marquise Lee was a guy we signed, and then he opted out. He's now 29. I'm not really interested. So we're going to move on from all 3 guys here. Tight end Matt Lacoste, I'm not paying him that money. Plus, he's basically going to start regressing, so we're done. We have 2 young tight ends. We don't need him. All right. Joe Thuney. I think I'm going to skip that one for now because I think that's going to be probably the biggest decision we end up having to make here. And then David Andrews as well. Marcus Martin, I'm not interested in a 54 overall center. We're just going to bypass Andrews for now. Jermaine Illuminor. I don't think we had to. I don't think we really need to re-sign him here. If we do want to bring him back, I think we can do it at a later point. Because honestly, we can probably get better than him, in free agency or the draft. So I think for now we're going to withdraw that. At end, John Simon. He had a nice couple of years here, but I think where he's going down, and he's not even our best pass rusher at almost $5 million a year. That's not going to be worth it. All right, Dietrich Wise and Lawrence Guy, they actually want the same deal. I feel like Dietrich Wise is a guy that the Patriots, got everything they could out of him under his rookie contract, and he's a guy that's probably going to be moving on. I don't see wanting to pay $4.5 to $5 million for him, so I'm not going to offer. Lawrence Guy's an interesting one because he was he's a team captain, so he signifies he has a pretty solid leadership role on the team. But he's 31 years old. He regressed. I might consider bringing back at a little bit lower cap or number, so maybe less guaranteed money. So I'm going to bump that down to $1 million. Can offer him a $4 million 1-year deal to stay around. I didn't think he would accept it, so. All right, so we do have the option to franchise tag him. I don't think we will because it's going to be 21.3. That would not make sense for him. All right, at DT, Akeem Spence, not really. Adam Butler. I sometimes feel like he's been underutilized by the Patriots. But then again, he's not like a star. He's a nice player. I guess that's the best way to say it. But I do think he maybe did get a little underutilized by New England. He seemed to pop a lot whenever he played or had the chance. He did make some pop plays. But if we look at things, what we're looking at here, he's 27. He's got normal development, and he's only a 74. So will I offer him? I think I will. I don't think I'm going to offer him at what he's wanting. I think 9.8 is reasonable, so we'll submit that offer. He wants to test, so we have the option to franchise tag if we choose. Probably not at that price though, so I don't think it will do that. All right, here I think we'll move on from Tayshawn Bauer and Brandon Copeland. All right, then we got, for some reason, double Hightowers. Madden being Madden. Let's go back in. Probably just needed to get refreshed. All right. So Cash Malou was actually a draft pick on the Patriots, so I feel like this might be misrepresenting his actual contract. So I'm going to bring him because he probably should be under contract for like another couple of years. So I'm just going to sign into a 2-year deal. And he's back. All right. Terez Hall. I want to bring him back. I'm willing to up his signing bonus a tad. I think that's a fair deal. 2 years, 3.5. Okay. And now Hightower. I think with what we've, with kind of some of the decisions I've made on some older players, older guys that have been around here for a long time, I feel like the Patriots are going to be really moving into almost like a full rebuild or just a lot of cleansing of the team and kind of restarting at a lot of areas. So I think Hightower falls into that. So here's what I'm going to do. I will extend an offer because, like I said, I think he should have 1 more year left on his deal in real life. I'll give him 1 year, 10 mil. He didn't like it. What's the tag? So I could hypothetically bring him back on a franchise tag. It would end up costing me a little more. But that's why I wanted to actually extend him an offer just to have that option. So, all right. Calhoun will move on from. McCourty, I think I already said. I felt pretty good about moving on from him. Had to go back out because it was kind of being weird again there. Ray Madden. All right. So Jason McCourty, he's getting older. I think we're fine. We're ready to move on. Now, J.C. Jackson. I think this is the first big name free agent that I am looking to bring back. I thought he was outstanding this year. So we're going to bump this to 8. And we'll get this to whatever gets us to like a $50 million contract. So as you can see there, propose the contract. It would still have us with 106 million in cap room. And he's got superstar development at 25 years old. So this to me is like a no-brainer. The Patriots in real life should bring him back. I think they will. And I'm going to offer him. And he doesn't like it. So that means he could be going to the free agency unless I tag him. So we'll have to come back to that. No one there. Terrence Brooks, I think we're good. We got Chung and Duggar. All right. So the only guys left to negotiate with are the 2 offensive linemen. So here's what I'll say. We have the money to resign Joe Thuney and David Andrews. They're a year difference in age. Andrews is the better player. I think I'm going to negotiate with Andrews first because Thuney we can replace. We have, like I mentioned, Onwenu on the team. That could easily just take the spot of him. So I'm going to go ahead and offer David Andrews. I gave him a little bit more money, 30.6 over 3. And he's back. So David Andrews has re-signed. All right, so last up is Joe Thuney. So if we pay him about what he's looking for here, we'll still have 95.7 million in cap space. So honestly, another thing we could do is play Onwenu at tackle, right tackle, and that would honestly give us a pretty outstanding offensive line across the board. With from left to right, it would be Wynn, Tooney, Andrews, Shaq Mason, and then if we have Onwenu just play right tackle. That's a pretty outstanding offensive line. And we have the money since we don't have a big quarterback contract that we could bring Tooney back. Because if we're going to end up going with a rookie or like a temporary guy, I think it makes sense to at least offer him a deal. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring this up to 0.15. We're going to offer him 3 years, $37.2 million. We'll still have $95.5 million in cap space. So Joe Tooney is back. So that's one thing we're really not going to have to worry about now is our offensive line. So now lastly, I am definitely franchise tagging J.C. Jackson. I'm not letting him hit the open market. And that will be it. I think we got everyone else taken care of. So that is what we have done here. So let's go ahead and advance to the next week. And free agency will begin where we'll have $95.5 million in cap room. All right, so let's really quickly take a look at this roster before we head into free agency. So Jarrett Stidham's now the only QB left on the team. Here's what we got still at running back. Kind of forgot about J.J. Taylor. He's a really small running back. So maybe he could be our James White replacement. Not sure he's probably the same caliber receiver. Yeah, not really. And actually, to be honest, Damian Harris has some hidden receiving ability. He's got the best catching of anyone in that running back. So maybe we don't have to go get like a direct receiving running back. But all right, at fullback, so we got these two guys. So here's what's left at receiver right now. So right now, Jacoby Myers and N'Keal Harry are our top two, and then kind of end of the bench guys. Return guy. Maybe Olszewski becomes the next Edelman though, or Amendola, just a scrappy old slot guy that comes from the bottom and takes a few years, but then becomes a nice player. But that might take a lot of work to actually see that happen here. But yeah, I'd say honestly right now N'Keal Harry is probably the presumptive #1 receiver, but still only 23 years old, so there's still opportunity to kind of turn things around. We're going to really have to develop that route running. And hopefully at some point, maybe if he plays well, we can get a breakout chance to get to star development. And then there's Myers. So at tight end, we got the young rookies and Ryan Izzo. We'll see if we want to look to improve there. All right, so now that we brought back Tooney, I'm going to go ahead and move one of these guys to right tackle. Although to be quite honest, I think Tooney would probably be better there. He is the better pass blocker, and he's got more of the quickness needed to deal with pass or edge rushers. So I think with that said, I'm actually going to go ahead and leave. I'm actually going to go ahead and leave Onwenu at guard. And I'm going to actually turn Joe Tooney into the new right tackle. So we're just going to give him a good quick position switch. So yeah, there we go. So this is one position that we are really good across the board at. All right. So over here we got Winovich, and yeah, he's the only guy right now at pass rusher. We have only one DT, so we got a lot of work to do on the D line. And linebacker right now it's Yushi and Jennings, and then Bentley in the middle with Hall and Malua. So probably still a lot of work, overall work to do at the front seven, honestly. And then at corner, we're still good here. I am going to officially put, now that I can do it, Gilmore on the trade block to see what kind of offers I get for him. And I also would kind of like to put Patrick Chung on the trade block just to see what kind of offers I could get for him as well. I feel like there was one other guy I maybe wanted to put on the trade block, but I think it was just those guys. Yeah, there wasn't really anyone else. Okay, so we're good there. So yeah, there's what the team looks like right now as we go into the free agency. So let's see what kind of guys are available. So Levante David, that would be, he's currently the top rated free agent. Will Fuller and Kenny Golladay. I love Kenny Golladay, for being quite honest. So, based on what we're needing here on the Patriots, I think it's a definite that I am going to be looking to go after probably one of these four guys here. And to me, the guys I'm probably liking the most are going to be probably Golladay 1. I think Fuller and Davis are kind of like 1, 2, 3, but really close. And then Smith-Schuster is probably my least wanted receiver here. But yeah, I think that's going to be definitely something I'm looking at, is to get one of those guys to sign here. Gronk's a free agent. Should we bring him back? I really honestly don't know what to do at tight end, because I don't know how great it's going to be starting at a 66 there. But those are guys that the Patriots really invested in, draft picks in. And so do we basically just already call it a flop and go after someone else to start at tight end and, basically prohibit them from getting a chance to play and develop? It's a tough decision. If things were different, I would probably definitely want Jonnu Smith quite greatly, or maybe Gerald Everett as like a secondary option. So we'll see what else we can do. Line, like I said, I think we're good here. I don't think we really need to address that in free agency. Defensive line, let's see if there's any decent pass rushers available. And at defensive tackle, I actually see a couple of guys that would make sense for the Patriots as like, I guess, temporary guys or placeholders or whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of things we could do here. I mean, maybe veterans like Geno Atkins or K'Wan Short, who were once, at the top of their positions, but are getting older, and as you can see here, have regressed. And then if we are looking for a pass rusher, these two would be really good guys to go after, as young pass rushers. At linebacker, actually, this would be another one that could move to end in our scheme. He's got 9 bids though, so he's got a lot of guys after him. Son Reddick, that would be good. At middle linebacker, I feel like unless I went after Levante David or Jayon Brown, we might as well just let Bentley or Hall continue to play. And then I like Yushi here, so. Corner, I don't think there's much we need to do at corner. Whew, excuse me. Okay. And then at safety, I don't think that's something we're going to be looking to address in free agency. A lot of kickers available here, though. If we did want to upgrade there, can bring back Goskowski. I don't think so, though. Do love me some Joey Sly. So you know what? I'm honestly going to throw Joey Sly an offer. I think we'll give him a 2-year deal. Give him a $500,000 signing bonus. I think that's fair. So 2 years, 3.5 mil. So we got a nice bid over Tampa for Joey Sly. All right, and another thing here as well that I'm going to kind of institute. Yeah, that's Colin Kaepernick, everyone. It's true. Not sure why he's rated that high, but yeah, he's in the game. Well, here's your quarterback class in terms of free agency. Not much. Sorry for the yawns here. Not sure what's going on. Just sending a quick text here, so 1 second. Okay. All right, so back here. Man, quarterback, I mean, none of these guys are going to be exciting at all in any way. So what we could hypothetically do, and before we're heading to the draft, is maybe bring on a guy like Josh Rosen. You know, doesn't seem like a bad idea. Bring him on to like a 1-year deal. Something like that. 2 mil. It's a low offer, but he has no other offers, so all right, so we'll put in a little offer for Rosen, basically as like a VG Goated. To answer your question, yes. It's a online or cloud franchise that we have going on here. Thank you for joining us. A lot of interesting names at running back that are available, but I don't think it's a position we need to look at in free agency. I do want to see if James White has any interest so far. Nothing yet. And actually, basically none of these running backs do at the moment. Wow, Marlon Mack's an 85. Seems a little high. All right, so now I'm looking at receiver. So I'm going to go ahead and put a bid in for Kenny Golladay. And so, actually, really quick, let me go back. So, for the sake of realism, I'm making this so once you make an offer, that is like your one offer for this stage. Meaning, if I go in and make an offer for Golladay and he doesn't, or my bid doesn't end up being, higher than, so if you can see here, he's got 2 offers so far, Tennessee and the Jets. So if my offer doesn't end up being higher than them, I had to live with it and see what happens. Meaning, I'm not going to go back in and just keep upping it until I'm listed as number 1, because the way Madden works is generally, probably almost like 90% of the time, if you're the top bid, you're going to get the player. So I feel like that kind of makes it too easy or cheap to get any players you want in free agency all the time. So based on what I'm seeing with those bars of interest, I had to try to gauge what I think that might be and then make my offer off of that. So I think with the interest he has and what he's wanting, I definitely am going to go above that. So I'm going to go ahead and offer him a 5.75 signing bonus. And I'm going to give him 8.5 here. So I'm going to go ahead and offer him 4 years, 56.8 million. So that is a 96-point offer. And let's see where it fits into his bids. So it is the top bid. So I'm, as of right now, appearing to be the team most willing to pay Kenny Golladay, which is good. VG, I'm not actually making this like a true online franchise, I guess, meaning I'm not having other people be in it. So it is kind of, for that reason, going to be just a solo franchise. But in the future, definitely might look into making like an online franchise with maybe with other people involved. But for this current franchise, it is just going to be myself. But thank you for asking to join. Appreciate the interest. But yeah, so we got an offer in here for Golladay. So now the only other position really I'm thinking about is back to probably pass rusher and then tight end. So I'm going to go actually back to the ends and linebackers and see who I like at pass rusher. That would make a lot of sense for us. I feel like Lawson and Hendrickson would be really good. Players, they're both in their I guess, prime. They're 80 and 81 overalls. They have some interest. They're star development. And then you got Hassan Reddick, who has superstar development at 83 overall, 26 years old. I mean, that's a big splash free agent guy there. So I think I will put an offer in for him. And he wants 5 years and a big deal. So I'm going to up to 10 here, and I'm going to up to, I think we'll go an even 6. So we're going to offer that. That's going to be my one offer for him. And we'll see how it works. He's got 9 offers. So it's a 96-point offer. And it does put us in first. So not bad. All right. So DT, there's not a lot of great free agents here. So I think I will put an offer into K1 short as a stopgap option. He's still got star development, so he's still a solid player. He has no offers right now, so I'm going to go down a little bit on this. I'll offer him a $2.5 million signing bonus, and we'll basically give him double 2.5s. So I'm just going to bring this up, I guess, a little bit to make it a 1-year, $5 million contract. So I'm his only bid. It's a little low, but I think that's, that would be probably something you would see, a contract you would see him probably, potentially get in real life. And then I may also extend another offer to a younger player I saw down here that I kind of liked. Wow, this is a 70 overall, 22-year-old that's available. Interesting. Now the guys I kind of were interested in were possibly DJ Jones or Devon Godchaw. Not sure if I came anywhere close to saying that right, but And then Malik Collins wouldn't be a bad player on a 1-year deal either. Because right now, if I went after, I have of course, the offering for K1 Short. He is considered a run stopper, but I feel like he's always been more of a, when he was in his, prime, I guess, he was kind of seen more as a pass rusher. And yeah, he's got 85 strength, so he's not really a true run stopper. So if I am looking for more of like a run stopper guy, let me just go back to now these other guys. So DJ Jones, he's got 87 strength, 73 block shed, 81 tackle, which is our kind of the 3 big ratings that you look at for a run stopper. Let's compare that to what Godshaw's got at those ratings. So he's got less strength, 1 less tackle. So yeah, he's actually lower in all those categories. And then the other guy I'll check out was the this young guy here. Yeah, he's got really low strength. All right, so I'm gonna actually extend an offer to DJ Jones. I think based on his age, we'll give him a 2-year contract. I'm gonna go a little bit lower than that. I think 8 million. I think 2 years, 8 million would be like a reasonable deal in real life. So we're gonna offer him 2 years, 8 million, 75-point bid, and we're the only bid so far. All right, so a couple offers on DTs. All right, and I see Reddick as more. I would probably move him to defensive end by signing him because I think he was technically a 3-4 outside linebacker on the Cardinals. So overall, he's an edge rusher and on the Patriots scheme. I'll go check that real quick, or I'm gonna actually just set up the schemes I want to run anyway now. I want to run a 4-3, so on my offense, I think this will depend on what quarterback I end up getting, so I'm not really too concerned with setting this up yet. But for now, I think I'll go ahead and just pick a... We'll just do vertical zone run for now. All right, then for defense, I'm getting out of the 3-4, so we're going to do a... And I want my corner... The main thing I want is my corner back archetype to be man-to-man. So I think we're probably just going to be a base 4-3 would give us the man-to-man. All right, so we'll go with that as our defense. All right, so we're set with that now. All right, so the other position to kind of check out here is how do we feel about our linebackers? Because right now, we can go forward with what we have. It's a lot of youth and untapped players, so it may not be a bad idea to add like a decent veteran, I guess you could say, but at the right price. So far, I haven't really seen any I'm like overly interested in. And I feel like I want someone that's going to have some speed to their game because I know Bentley's more of like a thumper. I think Hall, same thing for Hall. And Yushi's kind of a hybrid. I really haven't seen a lot of guys I have a lot of interest in. Maybe, I don't know, let's check out Ben Gideon. Yeah, it doesn't have a ton of speed. Oh, Darren Lee, he was a former first-round pick that kind of is turned into a bust. He's got really good speed. Yeah, I think another important thing actually is we need a linebacker that can cover. So I don't think really Yushi or Bentley are guys that are good pass covering linebackers. So maybe someone like Alex Anzalone. He's got the pass coverage archetype. He's got 71 zone and good speed. So he's not a bad fit. And he doesn't have any offers. Maybe someone like Devondre Campbell. He's got decent coverage and speed. I probably would move him away from middle linebacker, though. I would probably put him at left. So I'm going to put an offer out. I'm only going to offer a 1-year deal. We'll up that a tiny bit. We'll go with 4.6. It does come in under the Giants, so good chance I don't get him. So I think that's going to be all I want to do for now, however. The only other thing would be to check back quickly to tight ends and decide if I do want to make a push for Jonnu Smith or maybe get someone else. Because what we could also do is bring in someone like, or I guess in the Patriots case, bring back Jacob Hollister and then see, what we can get out of Keenan Asiasi. I don't know. I just don't know if we can go into another season with nothing at tight end. Or I could go after someone like Gerald Everett, who will cost a lot more, and he's going to start regressing pretty soon into that deal. So that's the thing here. I think it might be smart to go with someone more temporary. So I think I will extend an offer to Jacob Hollister for 1 year. And I think we're going to go with like $4 million. And that seems reasonable. So 64 points. All right, so that's the final offer I'll make. So busy. So here's all the offers I have on the table. So Galladay's the big one. We're really hoping we can bring him to New England. If he happens to go elsewhere, I did look at the other guys I was interested in. Right now, Fuller actually has no offers, and neither does Corey Davis. So if Galladay does make a decision after the first wave here, then we'll be able to pivot to one of them. All right, so I think we're ready to advance. Here we go. So let me know in the chat how what we think of my decisions there, or who I decided to offer. And if anyone is still watching, be sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel for more. So based on the time here, I'm thinking we might just stop short in front of the draft. So I think we'll get through the rest of free agency and then kind of, leave it there and set the stage up to start the next stream with the NFL draft. So unfortunately, didn't go as far as I was hoping here. All right, so Hassan Reddick has rejected our offer. So we were the top bid on his out of the 9 or 10 bids he had, and he decided to go somewhere else, it looks like. So we'll have to move on to someone else at pass rush. We did get K1 short on the 1-year deal to be our kind of stopgap at defensive tackle. And we've also been rejected by Kenny Galladay. So that stinks a little bit. I really wanted to get him on the Patriots. That would have been a big add to get us a number 1 receiver. So that's a tough one to lose out on, but we can probably go back and check on Will Fuller and Corey Davis. We did get DJ Jones, so I think we're looking pretty good at defensive tackle now heading into the next year. And I think we're going to be all set now at kicker. Joey Sly joins the Patriots. So let's go back quickly here to take a look at the roster, at the positions that we've added players at. So the first one is going to be at DT. We added 2 guys there, so there's Short and Jones. They now top the depth chart. So we kind of got more of our pass rusher at DT here with Short, and then Jones is going to be more of our run stuffer. But he does offer a little bit as a pass rusher, so I like the nice mixture we have with those 2 guys. And Brian Cowart's now going to be a good depth player. All right, would have loved to get Reddick, but fortunately not. So the only other add I think was Sly. So I think with that, we're just going to go ahead and release this guy. And we'll keep Roar Wasser for now, I guess. Let him compete with Sly, I guess, in a way. A kicker. So there we have it. So tough to miss out on the 2 biggest and best players that we offered. Oh boy. So some late decision. I guess this kind of ended up being interesting. Drew Brees didn't initially retire in the first stage of retirements, but has decided to retire kind of in the middle of free agency. So that is a little bit shocking, to be quite honest. Wow. So the Saints now all of a sudden in the middle of free agency are going to have to move forward with a new quarterback. Let's see if they I think I saw Winston as a free agent, so that means the Saints might not even have a quarterback on the roster right now, and they don't. So apparently they released Taysom Hill, because I'm pretty sure he should have still been under contract. And then they didn't bring back Winston, who was a free agent, and then Breeze is retired, so the Saints are barren at quarterback for the moment, folks. Interesting. All right, so let's get back into free agency and see what we can pivot to after losing out on Reddick and Galladay. And then let's look at what else we have currently going on. So now here's the thing. Now I can readjust my offer on Campbell, and if I need to on these guys, but they have stolen bids. So now Campbell's getting more interest. So I am going to go back in and take my 1 opportunity to readjust my offer. So we're going to go up to $5 million with him. And again, this will be my 1 offer. I adjusting offer I will make. And you know what? Just to try to get him on the team, we're going to up him to $5.5 million 1 year. So that gets us to 85 points, puts us in 4th. So probably not looking good to get Campbell on the team. All right, let's see where Galladay and Reddick ended up going off to. So we'll kind of go by position really quick, just see if anyone's interesting here. Not really much at quarterback yet. No real big running backs signed yet. Jordan Howard's the biggest name, albeit he hasn't been good quite a bit of time now. He's going to Buffalo, I guess, to serve as a depth option. So at receiver, Galladay basically ends up replacing Corey Davis. So it might be more of a slight to Corey Davis that the Titans didn't want to re-sign him and just went after Kenny Galladay. So that's a big, interesting move. And the Lions, in turn, go ahead and replace Galladay with Juju Smith-Schuster. Interesting. And then a couple other smaller, lesser, impact guys signing. Tim Patrick goes from division rival Denver to Las Vegas, and then Devin Funchess, who opted out last year, didn't even end up playing a game for Green Bay, moves on to Washington. All right, at tight end, Gronk is leaving the defending champion Buccaneers, and he is taking a offer with the Panthers. I don't think that would happen in real life. Pretty sure Gronk is only going to continue playing if it's with Tom Brady. But Madden doesn't have that type of knowledge to make that happen in the game. So Gronk is moving on to pastures, I guess, probably for more money. So he's a Panther, moving on to a division rival at that from Tampa Bay. So interesting. And the Bengals make a really good signing. They get Jonnu Smith. They definitely needed a tight end, so that's going to be good for Joe Burrow. So Jonnu Smith leaves Tennessee. A couple lineman moves here. Nothing, no one of big note though. I will point out this one lineman move, however. So Laurent Duvernay-Tardif, he opted out this year on the Chiefs, and as we saw in the Super Bowl, with probably him being an opt out and then a couple linemen getting hurt at the wrong time, I kind of ended up killing the Chiefs in that Super Bowl in the end. But yeah, Tardif now, back in football, leaves the Chiefs, goes to the Ravens. Interesting. All right, so big news at defensive end. We have Olivier Vernon going to Arizona. Derek Wolfe goes to Cleveland. And William Golston leaves the champion Bucks, signs with the Ravens. And that's another thing I'll say too, really quick, is that is the problem, or not a problem, but what makes the NFL awesome and great is that it really is a incredible feat to become good year in and year out and repeat as champion. So a lot of times what happens with teams that win a Super Bowl is there's going to be guys that are going to lose because either, when you become a good team, it's either because you have good players, meaning they have bigger contracts, and also that means you're drafting well too. But 1 second, guys. All right, just had to mute the mic for a moment to not have everyone blasted out by something. But yeah, so that's part of the challenge of really why they're in the NFL doesn't end up being a lot of repeat champions is because with the salary cap things in the NFL, it's really hard to consistently keep your team together year in and year out. So as we can see here, a prime example, we've seen a bunch of Buccaneer players, good players hit the market. So Gronk, this guy, Golston here. And I did mention Godwin was a free agent, but Tampa Bay in this game here, in our franchise, must have found a way to bring him back. So otherwise, he would have been another big name. We did see Fournette was available, so he hit the market. But yeah. Anyway, moving on to some other guys that have been picked up. Biggest name at DT was Rankins. He goes to the Vikings. Solomon Thomas to the Bengals. All right, now two of the bigger pass rushers available have moved to new teams. Carl Lawson goes to Seattle. Trey Hendrickson goes to Baltimore. Oh, and there's another Buccaneer leaving. And Ndamukong Suh is now a Bengal. Interesting. Okay. So Hassan Reddick chose to go to Cincinnati over New England. So a lot of big signings here so far by the Bengals. So they're really going for it, trying to maximize their window when Burrow's on a rookie deal. Although to me, they probably should have spent more money getting offensive linemen, but their defense also did need work. So a couple of nice signings there with Suh, Solomon Thomas, Hassan Reddick. I didn't happen to see if they signed any linemen, but because that is the one area. Oh, they did bring a new center in, so they did bring one lineman on. I didn't really pay big attention to that spot. And then, like I said, they brought Jonnu Smith on board. So Bengals spending some cash, trying to get better. All right. No other real linebackers of note. So let's see, middle linebacker. So Levante David, another Tampa Bay defection. He's off to Detroit. I got to say, personally, that would be a horrible move for him to go from a defending champion, living in Florida, to go to Detroit and go live in Detroit, Michigan, and play for a team that's in a rebuild, really, because they just got rid of Stafford. So I don't see Levante David making that real life decision, but good for him in Madden. Again, going to the Lions, I guess. So Hightower, who of course we let go, has moved on to Cleveland on a 2-year deal. So Hightower leaves. And then another Bengals signing, Jayon Brown, young linebacker with star development, goes to Cincinnati. The Ravens get Jordan Hicks, who's a solid player. All right. And at right outside, Yannick Ngakoue on his like third team in 1 year. He's now a Jet who do need a pass rusher, so that is a pretty good signing for them. And the Ravens again get another player here at linebacker, Samson Ebukam. And another notable signing here, Damian Wilson goes to Carolina. All right, at corner, Desmond King goes to Cincinnati. My God, the Bengals are really spending. Although, interesting that they would let William Jackson go, who was actually one of their corners, to sign Desmond King instead. I mean, I guess King is 2 years younger, but he is more of a slot corner than like a true number one corner. And the Jets, meanwhile, pounced on that opportunity. They go get William Jackson. They needed a corner. A couple other nickel corners signing elsewhere, slot corner signing elsewhere. Justin Coleman with the Bills. Nickel Roby-Coleman to the Panthers. LaMarcus Joyner to the Texans. Jordan Lewis to the Titans. All right, at safety, Marcus Williams leaves the Saints and goes to the Jets on a big 5-year deal. Anthony Harris re-signs at the Vikings. Marcus May leaves the Jets, goes to the Panthers. And the Jets bring on veteran Tony Jefferson. So Jets remaking their safety room. And no other kickers or punters are signed. So I signed the only one there with Joey Sly. All right, so here's the offers I have out there. So now that we've lost a pat on one of our big pass rushers that we were after in receivers, we're going right back to receiver and checking out what's going on with Will Fuller and Corey Davis. So both now have offers. Fuller has just one from the Ravens. That would be a big move for them. And then Corey Davis has a couple offers, one from Las Vegas and one from the Jets. Oh man, I like both players a lot. So let's kind of break this down. Both guys have star development, so that's kind of key. In terms of their age, Davis is a year younger, but flip side to that is he's two overalls less. He is also wanting less money. So again, I like both guys. I think for me though, I am going to, in this case, where we're looking for a number one guy to go forward with, I'm actually going to prefer Corey Davis. And also another big thing is if we probably go look at their ratings here. Davis is solid across the board. 92 catching is really good. So he's got reliable hands. He's a solid route runner. And he's got good athletic traits. But the big one I'm going to point out here is injury. So he has an 87 injury. So as we know, Will Fuller has never been a pinnacle of clean health, although he actually stayed healthy this year. Only reason he didn't play full season this year was because he ended up getting suspended at the end of the year. So Madden, we don't have to worry about suspension. So obviously Fuller's got a lot more speed to his game than Davis. He is a little bit better of a route runner too. His hands aren't as good, but injury is an 82. So that's honestly something we'd have to kind of be at risk of every year, is Will Fuller possibly getting hurt. So I think for those reasons, with the fact that he's a year older and an injury, going to be an injury risk a lot of the time, I'm going to go and make my offer for Corey Davis. And so this is a solid deal because this would take him up to age 30 where, we could potentially play out his contract and then move on, or depending on what he does for us, we would see what else we can do. So with the competing offers, I am going to raise this, and plus I got cap room to use. So I'm going to go up to $8 million here, and we'll go up to 4.5 here and see where we're at. So that gives us almost to $50 million. I'm going to go up one more in the salary. I'm going to offer him 4 years, $50.2 million. Do I want to go higher though, just to ensure I get the top offer? I think I do. I'm going to go up a little bit more on the signing bonus. Let's get up to 50.5. All right. So I'm going to submit that. Then 4 years, $50.5 million. It's a 99-point offer. So I feel pretty good about that. And it puts us at the top. So as we saw before, that doesn't mean we're going to get the player. I had the top offer for Kenny Galladay. He chose to go somewhere else. But at least, at least we can, rest assured here knowing that we did offer him the most money or the best, I guess the best contract. So I guess it's now just a matter of whether he wants to play New England or would prefer to go to Vegas or the Jets. So there we go. All right, so now lastly, before I think we're ready, I don't think I'm going to look into much else. I do want to look, now that we lost out on Reddick, for maybe some kind of a pass rusher here on the edge. So we could go for a stopgap option and pick up Melvin Ingram or Justin Houston, who are older, aging veterans. Jerry Hughes is another one. Because, yeah, there's really not a lot of young top-end pass rushers really out here. There's some guys, down the line here, but none of them are what you would call top-end. So let me just check the linebackers real quick, because there may be some 3-4 linebackers here that I would be able to play at, edge or defensive end, if you will. Yeah, again, not a lot of exciting options, I guess. I'm going to put an offer in for Anzalone really quick. Because I'm not so sure about getting Devondre Campbell. So we'll offer him 2 years, $9 million, 59-point offer, but it's the only one on the table. All right, and then back to edge. Honestly, I guess Tyus Bowser could be good, could be okay. To me, it would either really be him or just going with one of these stopgaps options. I mean, which, for New England could make sense because Winovich is a young pass rusher. So pairing him with a veteran, you could see that happening. So I guess the question becomes, do we go all in and go for Melvin Ingram? Or do we try to go down and go for maybe like someone like Jerry Hughes who has no competing offers? I think, again, with all the cap room we still have here, I think it makes sense to go on a 1-year deal for Melvin Ingram. Although he is wanting a 2-year deal, actually. I would probably prefer a 1-year deal. So I think that's what I'm going to offer him. But I'll try to sweeten the pot, I guess, as you can say. Give him a larger sum deal. And how much does it take to get up to 16, even 16? There we go. So we're going to offer him a 1-year, $16 million deal. Eesh, 76. That's probably not going to put me in good standing. Yeah. Third place. Well, I think we're going to have to go have a backup option. So I'll go with Jerry Hughes. Going to cost much less. We'll give him 6.5. But he has no other offers. I think we could get him. And since I made a strong enough offer, didn't cheap out so much, I think we'll have a good chance of getting him. So, all right, I think that's what we're going to stick with for now. So here are our now pending offers. So still the offer on Rosen, Hollister. I tried to redo the one with Campbell, but still wasn't good enough. He's probably going to be going to one of those other 3 teams there. Anzalone, we got a new offer in. Hughes, Corey Davis, we're the top offer, so that would be a big add if we can get him. And Ingram, probably not looking good. We're a distant third. I think that's all we're going to do for now. And actually, really quick, I want to see if the Saints have actually started to put in any bids on quarterbacks here. And actually, none. Oh, there's one guy. For some reason, Brett Ripien is the only other. No, Cole McDonald. A couple other guys down here. So weird that these, to be honest, these bum quarterbacks are getting all the interest. Where, hey, look, there's 29 overall, Phillip Rivers. Again, if you missed that from earlier, that was my way of force retiring him since he didn't, because the game will just basically take him out of the game. In other words, so really quick, guys, if you don't mind, I just got uh, an alert for a fantasy basketball thing that I need to address quick before before it would be too late. Just got a notice of a guy that's not going to play, Blake Griffin. So I'm just going to make sure I get him out of my lineup here, because I did have a bench option available. So, all right. And also, I should check to see if Jamal Murray is going to play. He's questionable. But I have a contingency plan for him, I guess, with Cole Anthony, who's also questionable, though. Well, I'll just have to keep an eye out for that before anything happens. All right. Back to the task at hand. So, yeah, the Saints haven't made any offers to any quarterbacks. And so they have nothing right now. You would think logic would come in that they would try to just bring Winston back, but all right, so I think I'm good with the offers I've made. So now I do have to import my draft class. So there it is. And we can begin scouting. All right, so there you have it. There's Trevor Lawrence, of course, at the top of the class. So with the Patriots, we're going to have the 15th overall pick. I'm not sure why each round it's showing different numbers. That's kind of strange, but apparently we're going to have the 15th pick. So based on what we're needing, and a lot's going to depend on what happens here in this next free agency stage, because if we strike out again at receiver, that honestly might have to be our first round pick. So someone like Jalen Waddle. So let's just scout him. He grades out true to form. Not sure what's going on with this guy's name. That's interesting. And then, yeah, I think we're going to have to look at quarterback too. So maybe someone like Mac Jones from the defending champion Alabama Crimson Tide. I think we'll look at the other guys too, like Trey Lance and Fields. I feel like those are all guys that could make it to Patriots in real life. I don't think we'll have a chance at probably either of these two, obviously. At tight end, I think Pitts could be a considering player. He's probably one of the best players in the draft class, or as in this talent pool, regardless of position. So he would be someone that could be considered by the Patriots. I'll check out Jamar Chase too, in case we end up receiver, Devontae Smith, the Heisman winner. Oh, we're out of points actually, so that's all we can do for now. So there's a sneak peek a little bit at our draft. We'll get more into that later on. So now that we've scouted, got the draft class ready, we can move to stage 3 and see what happens with those free agency offers. And we'll probably be wrapping up here soon, because there's not really much else that will happen in free agency probably. So Corey Davis has agreed to a contract with our Patriots. So we make a big move to get a number 1 receiver on this team. So that is exciting. So at the very least, I feel much better with this Patriots team now. Corey Davis is on board, and to have behind him, still N'Keal Harry, and if Myers is our slot guy, I think that's an acceptable trio. Jerry Hughes did accept. We did, as expected, lose out on Ingram and Devondre Campbell. But the big news there was Corey Davis, so that is awesome. One of our biggest needs in the offseason has been addressed, so Corey Davis is now a new Patriot. And his number was taken by Jeff Smith. So I'm just going to do a quick number change of Jeff Smith, because I don't think he would keep that number from Corey Davis, so we'll give Corey Davis his number 84. So welcome to New England. Here's Corey Davis in a Patriot uni. Could honestly be something that happens in real life once free agency gets going. So I like it. He looks good in the Patriot blue there. So yeah, look how much that definitely drastically changes how this receiving group looked here. All right, and then we also got Jerry Hughes. So he joins Chase Winovich at our 2 pass rushing positions. So we at least have, a couple of competent pass rushers now on board. We already brought in a couple DTs, so the front 4 looking a little better now all of a sudden. All right. So let's get back to the main screen here. And so first thing up, we'll address our 5th-year options. So I believe these are going to be on Isaiah Wynn and Sony Michel. Yeah, so Isaiah Wynn. So I think when you have a pretty good left tackle and it's on a rookie deal, you probably are going to pick this up. The only thing with Wynn so far has been injuries, but I think we will definitely pick up his 5th-year option. What we do from there will be, of course, up for debate, but I think it's definitely logical to pick up that option. All right, so now I think this next one's going to be Sony Michel. So now I'm definitely going to differ on this, especially with Damian Harris around. I will not pick up Sony Michel's 5th-year option, meaning he could become a free agent after this next upcoming year. All right, so those are the only 2 ones I needed to address. So let's head back into the free agents room. We'll take a quick look around and see who else has been signed by other teams. Any other big names so far? So still no real big name quarterbacks getting picked up here. Geno Smith goes to the Chiefs, though, to back up Patrick Mahomes. That was funny. All right, at running back. So a couple of running backs have made some signings. So Philip Lindsay joins Miami, where he might finally get a chance to be like the real number 1. So Kenyon Drake leaves Arizona. He's now on the Jets, who did need a running back, so that's a logical signing by the Jets. James White, sad to see him go, but he leaves and goes to basically replace Kenyon Drake in Arizona. Probably not as a feature back, but David Johnson does sign back with the Texans. Okay, interesting. Fullback, not really much. So Will Fuller does go to the Ravens, so that's actually a really good signing for the Ravens, and and how that would be in real life. That would be a big move. Sammy Watkins also joins Baltimore, so wow. So the Ravens remaking their receiving core in one offseason, adding Sammy Watkins and Will Fuller to with Marquise Brown. All of a sudden, they got a nice trio going on there. Nothing really else happened at tight end. Texans brought in Trey Burton. The biggest lineman free agent moves on from Atlanta to Miami. Alex Mack goes to the Dolphins. Okay, any other names here? John Simon, who left us, goes to Kansas City. All right. DT, Hankins, and Daquan Jones go to Tampa Bay. So they double up at the D tackle position. And then Malik Collins, who I had some interest in, he goes to Vegas. All right. At right ends. So Melvin Ingram ends up going to Buffalo. So he'll be in division now. And Lawrence Guy, who we let go, goes to Tampa to rejoin Tom Brady there. He'll basically kind of serve as a Ndamukong Suh replacement, probably at a lesser price for them. So Justin Houston ends up going to Arizona. Nothing really of note here. Basham, who I may have had some interest in, he goes to Miami, so he'll be in our division then. Campbell ends up choosing Carolina. think I just saw Manti Te'o sign with somebody. Yeah, he goes to the Rams. All right. And nothing really much at that linebacker. Any more corners? Oh, Shaquille Griffin, who was the top corner on the market, he signs a pretty nice deal with Jacksonville. So the Jags get themselves the top-notch corner. Desmond Trufant to Vegas as a new name. No one else of note. Earl Thomas, after a year hiatus, goes to I almost said San Diego. I mean, to me, they should still be San Diego, but that's another story. So the Los Angeles Chargers. So Earl Thomas resurfaces after a year out of football. And he joins a pretty loaded secondary there. All right, and then next kind of big safety, a couple of big safeties here. The Jags again, go get Keanu O'Neal. And then Carl Joseph joins Tampa. Couple kickers. Nick Folk, I thought he retired. I guess not. So he goes to the Rams. And that's about it. All right, punters, we're good with that. All right, so there's update on who's kind of made some signings. And here's what we still have. So again, I may look into probably upping these offers because it's not looking like Rosen might accept. So we're going to go up to $2.5 million. All in salary, no guarantees. So that gets him to 72. Makes it a green, so I think we'll have a good chance of finally getting Rosen on the team. Hollister, well, maybe up to like $4.5 million. 74. That gets him in the green, so I think we'll probably be able to get that done. And the Browns have outbid us for Anzalone, so that's not good. I still want to keep him on a 2-year deal, so I guess we'll maybe get up to 10. All right, we'll go 10.5. See what that does for us. So 2 years, 10.5, 75. Probably not going to be good enough. And again, I probably could, but I've made my one re-offer, so. Well, Texans have interest in Marlon Mack. And the Raiders are after James Conner, where he would be a clear backup. Interesting, to Josh Jacobs. No one's interested in Le'Veon Bell. And the Jets are looking at Colin Kaepernick. Wow. All right, I have to say this now. I probably would step in and change something with that, though, because I don't think Colin Kaepernick should be rated higher than some people that are here. Like, I feel like he would, if he actually ended up ever playing in the NFL again, he would probably need to be rated more like around this range of player. There's no way he should be a 79. So I would adjust that and probably adjust his contract accordingly so the Jets aren't paying like $29 million if that's what he gets for a lower rated QB. But yeah, I just don't think he should be that good. And like at this point in time, he hasn't played an NFL snap for like 3 years now. So yeah, just don't think that should be what's going on. All right, so in terms of a free agent, I don't think there's really much more I'm looking for. I guess maybe if I'm not going to get Anzalone, I could look at a different linebacker. There's not really a lot of guys I like here, though. So maybe like someone like Raekwon McMillan. He actually does have some speed. He's not the greatest in coverage, which is kind of what I was looking for. I wish there was a way you could just like sort free agents by like something specific, because it's kind of annoying to have to basically like anytime I want to look at just a guy, I had to basically pick him like selectively and go look at like a specific trait or thing I'm looking for out of him. I'm honestly not finding many guys in here that I know or I would think of would be like good like pass cover linebackers here. So we honestly might just have to See what happens with Anzalone, and otherwise just take it to the draft. I don't know. I'm just not thinking or seeing that there's a lot of potential for any good pass covering linebackers, because that's really the biggest linebacker type that I'm needing here. So, yeah, I think we're just going to go to the next stage for now. I see that we're approaching almost 2.5 hours live here, so definitely want to wrap it up soon. So let's go do some scouting really quickly. All right, so let's finish scouting Devontae Smith. What else could we have interest of here in the first round? So if we are still end up looking for a pass rusher, Kwity Paye could be a guy. Ooh, Jeremiah Owusu Koroma, my Notre Dame man. He would be exactly what I would be looking for in a pass cover linebacker, so he would definitely be highly considered. This guy's name is actually supposed to be Aziz. I don't know what this deal with the stars are, but I'll make sure that that's not going to be like that when we go back. All right. Probably not going to look at running back in the first round or DT. I'll look into Zaven Collins. I would say he's a pass rusher, so we'll have interest there. All right, I think that's all I can scout, unless actually I gotta go to my special position there. And we can probably get something with 11 points. There it is. And it's a QB. Well, we might need a QB, so I guess we'll head back there and scout someone's first trait. So maybe a mid-round QB I'd have some interest in, maybe like a guy like David Mills there. He's got 8 throw power, not bad. All right, so we're ready to advance to stage 4. And also, normally you'd have a lot more players scouted at this point. So Anzalone, as expected, declined. We did get Hollister, but Josh Rosen still didn't accept. So that's going to mean going into the NFL draft, folks, we are still going to have only Jarrett Stidham on the roster at QB. Meanwhile, the Saints have effectively replaced Drew Brees with Josh Love, a 52 overall rookie, or I guess probably now would be a second-year player. So the Saints are probably going to be looking to draft a quarterback. You'd have to think. Because I don't think you can go into a season with a guy that probably no one in their life has ever heard of. At least not no one probably watching here has ever known who that guy is. So, as we all know, I did put Gilmore on the trade block earlier. So we actually have some offers here. So let's see type of value we're looking at. So we only got 4 offers from the Colts, Giants, Panthers, and Raiders. And honestly, these are very underwhelming offers for a 99 overall, like top tier corner. You know, Madden rates him as the #1 corner. And at best, I'm getting offered 2022, so not even in this current draft. It would be the next year, second round pick. Right now, the little best offer I have would either be the Colts 2 picks next year, a 2 and a 5. Same thing with the Giants, I guess. The Panthers aren't even offering me a 2. They're giving me a 3. Oh, the Giants was a 3 actually, not a 2. So that was worse. Panthers only are going to want to give me a 3 next year and a 6 this year. And then the Raiders want to give me a 2 and 7 next year and a 6 this year. These are just downright terrible offers. So I will not be accepting any of that. All right, let's get into the last part of scouting here. Then we'll be able to move on to the next stage, kind of see what the final free agent signings were. And then that will take us right up to the draft, where we'll probably be ending the stream here. We'll have interest in a linebacker. And you know what? The scouting is honestly not going to be that big a deal for this draft, just because it's got real players. So for the most part, know about these players here that we're going to be drafting, so it's not the biggest deal that I'll have kind of a under-scouted class. So really the scouting here is probably not even, I guess, fully necessary, but we have the points, so we'll just we'll just use them. All right, we'll start another. So the pass coverage linebacker, so we definitely might have interest there. Just want to get some guys. Another start out guy, not sure why. We'll scout Quincy Roche, 6th round talent. Yeah. Creed Humphrey, what a name. Maybe a 3rd round tight end wouldn't be a bad idea. So let's scout Brevin Jordan, 2nd round talent, not bad. And I don't know, not sure really what else to look for here. Maybe someone like Cameron McGrone. All right, there's that. Okay, so I guess we're ready to advance to the draft stage. But due to time, we won't be doing the NFL draft today, so unfortunately didn't get as far as I hoped we would have in the stream. So last thing we'll do to wrap it up is just kind of go over the last signed free agents, see who actually is also still available. So depending on what happens in the draft, I mean, probably after the draft, you'll probably see some of these QBs get signed then. I'm still kind of surprised that a lot of them didn't. And then Josh Rosen, I just don't really know why he wouldn't want to continue playing football, I guess. But yeah, here's some of the guys still available. So a ton of, decent running backs still out here. I mean, Leonard Fournette, Mike Davis. I mean, someone like Gus Williams, he's been productive. And he's not really like old. Jamal Williams is another nice running back. That's a, kind of a secondary guy. At receiver, Antonio Brown never got signed. Neither did T.Y. Hilton or Marvin Jones. A couple of, solid receivers still are out here. At tight end, no one ended up signing Jared Cook or Jordan Reed, a couple of veterans. And then Gerald Everett, I'm really surprised that he never got picked up. Because he's still a youngish tight end that could have a chance on another team. Generally all the good linemen got scooped up. I'm surprised no one picked up Darrell Williams, actually, he's the only one really. D-line, mainly some veterans. No one signed Geno Atkins. That is a little surprising. Dietrich Wise, who we let go, no one picked him up, so he'll probably be a candidate to get picked up by someone later on. Tyus Bowser, a 26-year-old that's pretty decent. I'm surprised that no one added him. Or even Shaquem Griffin. No linebackers. Yeah. Okay. A lot of solid corners out there. Some young ones, too. I mean, this guy's 25. Sidney Jones. Conley. Charvarius Ward. Yeah, there's still a lot of young, solid corners out there. A lot of the kickers didn't even get picked up that were available. All right. So let's see what other signings took place in the last couple stages. So the Jets did sign Kaepernick, so I definitely will go back. I won't do that on the stream. I'll do it after the fact, but so make sure to edit that. Marlon Mack ends up getting a big deal with the Texans. which I could see something like that happening. Maybe not that size of a deal for sure, but with just David Johnson there, Texans definitely needed a running back, so that is a logical signing. So he'll be with David Johnson, who the Texans did restructure, and re-sign his contract. Receiver Tyrell Williams moved on to the Dolphins, so that was a new one. Nelson Aguilar goes to the Lions. David Moore rejoins the Seahawks. No other big names at receiver. Tight end, really only 3 guys. Wow. Interesting. Kelechi Esmele goes to the Panthers. Mike Pouncey went to the Broncos. Hey, Edwards gang. Thanks for joining the stream. We're almost at the end here, but in terms of joining the franchise, it is going to be just me in the franchise, so it's not going to be a like a joinable online franchise that I'm doing here for this. But thank you for asking and for checking out the stream. And definitely continue watching. We'll develop further in this franchise in our next time I stream. See what we do in the draft here with the Patriots. All right, so let's see what else. Nothing really at defensive end of note. Gerald McCoy does end up signing a deal with the Giants. They're missing all last season. Damon Harrison, Snacks goes to Denver. Oh, and Adam Butler, who we let go, does sign a deal with the Chargers. And Bo Allen also. All right. Alden Smith goes to Denver. And Dante Fowler goes to Miami. No other big names at linebacker are there. Ruben Foster to the Giants. Devondre Campbell, I think we saw, went to the Panthers already. All right, the last one we want to check out is Anzalone. So he ended up signing with the Browns. So he joins Hightower. The Browns did need linebackers, I know that. So they got a couple of them here. That corner Malcolm Butler goes to Seattle. That's interesting. Broke their hearts in the Super Bowl, and years later ends up on the Seahawks. Quite the 360 there. Deron Harmon to the Raiders. Clinton Dix to Jacksonville. All right. Kickers and punters, not a big deal. So there's kind of your recap on who signed where and who was unsigned. So we'll go ahead and stop the stream there. So right before the draft. So next time I stream, we will pick this up at the NFL draft. All right. I'm not sure when the next stream will be. I'd say we're probably going to look towards probably midweek, something like that. So I will be announcing it or scheduling it on YouTube, and I will announce it on my social medias. So Facebook and Twitter. My Twitter is linked on my YouTube. So if you want to follow me there to find out when the next stream will be, it'll be announced there. I'll also, like I said, schedule it on YouTube. So that is it for today. For anyone that was watching, thank you for joining. Make sure to leave a like on the video. That will be very helpful for my channel. And if you like, what we saw here, feel free to subscribe, and also definitely feel free to comment anything on the stream. It will be available to rewatch as like a regular standard video on my channel. So definitely would appreciate any feedback or comments there. But that'll do it for today. Thank you everyone for joining, and have a great night. Enjoy the rest of your Valentine's Day.